Skyview Motorsports Desk. I'm Roy J. Akers. I am with the Senior Director of Marketing for Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Michael Kaltenmark. Michael, you must be very excited to have NASCAR back on the bricks for the second consecutive year.
Oh, we're so excited to be back on the oval where we started back in 1994. It feels really good. Of course, last year, as you mentioned, it was our return to the oval, 30th anniversary. A lot of momentum behind that. We saw an increase in crowd size, and that was fantastic. I'm pleased to report that ticket sales are pretty strong again this year. And so it's clear that people enjoy being back on the oval, seeing NASCAR Cup Series action and Xfinity action on the oval here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Just makes a lot of sense, and I think it makes people pretty happy. And so we're pleased to host them, both NASCAR and our fans this weekend, and we're excited for some racing action.
Yeah, one thing's clear: the drivers love being back on the oval. Nothing against the oval. I would love to. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. I got a couple. I don't want to jump ahead too much, but what are fans going to see this year at the track? You guys have been working very hard for the last year. Is there a concert, a certain activity, and a new display? What do you guys got going on?
Well, as you and I were just talking before we got started, one thing new this year is on Thursday night, we have our hauler parade, which isn't new. We've done a hauler parade for years. Really appreciate the NASCAR Cup Series teams and hauler drivers being willing to show up on Main Street right behind me in Speedway and lining up their trucks for a couple hours and letting our fans and neighbors come out and get excited for the weekend. But after the hauler parade, that's what's new this year. We're kicking off Indiana Sprint Week as a part of Brickyard Weekend. Sprint cars at the IMS dirt track for the first time. That's going to be really cool. And so, it's really neat to kick off Brickyard Weekend with some grassroots racing right here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So we're excited about that and hope fans join us a little bit earlier than they normally would on Thursday night for some dirt track action right here inside turn 3 of the oval. And then you flip the calendar to Friday, and we'll have some cars on track. It's kind of nice to come out Friday and get a little sneak peek of what's coming for the weekend ahead. And then Friday evening, the folks at 2311 Racing are going to do a little intersect event downtown outside of Gamebridge Fieldhouse in the plaza there. It's free. If you go to 2311's website and look for Intersect, you can register for your free attendance. They think they may have upwards of 2,000 to 3,000 people there, live music, food, really cool event. So we've been supportive of that, and we're excited that they can engage fans around the city downtown away from our venue. We think that's actually pretty cool because it might bring some new faces to the sport. And then Saturday, we're qualifying and racing. And so can't wait for the Pennzoil 250 on Saturday. And then, of course, the Brickyard 400 presented by PPG on Sunday, sort of an action-packed weekend. I mean, once we get into Saturday and Sunday, it's all about that track action, and it's going to be hot, both ambient air temp and on the track, and we can't wait to see it.
Yeah, you're right on that. Just a couple years ago, it was kind of a fluke in the schedule where the NTT and NXT IndyCar Series raced in the same weekend as NASCAR.
Yeah.
Was that kind of a one-off, or is that something that may come back? Or I mean, both series stand on their own, but I was like, I can't believe this is happening, and
I couldn't either. I thought, as a race fan, which at heart is what I am, I thought it was awesome, right? Because I got to see the best of everything in North America right here at the greatest racetrack in the world. So I loved it. But I would also tell you that I prefer both of those cars on the oval. And so it was a fun experiment. I wouldn't say it's never going to happen again. You just never know. We're certainly always willing to do that sort of thing. And so if NASCAR and IndyCar expressed interest again, by all means, we'd open the gates and get the track ready and do it. But as a race fan, I thought there was something there. And you're right. Both of these series can stand on their own, and they do. But boy, when NASCAR goes street racing, I always think, I wish IndyCar was there too. And for that matter, IMSA as well. What a treat that would be for the American race fan to be able to go to one city and watch a street race with the three, preeminent North American motorsports series racing at one time. That'd be incredible. So I just want to put that out into the universe that maybe
Oh
like
yeah.
Chicago, San Diego, Long Beach, dare I say, where St. Pete, wherever there's a street race, like what would it look like if you had IMSA one day, IndyCar the next, and then NASCAR after that? Like, what a race weekend that would be. So since you brought it up, I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't, who knows? I don't make these decisions, but I'm just talking as a fan, and I just think that would be so cool. And then, like, what would that mean for guys who are like, the SVGs and or even some of the IndyCar guys who could maybe hop into both Connor Daly and what would a weekend look like that for them? Like, could somebody run the IMSA race, the IndyCar race, and the NASCAR race? Like, what would that look like? I don't know. I'm just dreaming, but it was a fun experiment when we did it here, and frankly, I'd love to see it elsewhere, but who knows?
This August, a full-throttle festival comes to upstate New York. Camp under the stars, then witness the brightest stars of NASCAR battle for a crucial playoff spot. NASCAR weekend at Watkins Glen. Get your tickets now at theglen.com.
Yeah. One of the things too about Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Brickyard is that you have the dirt track, you have the roval, you have the oval, and it seems like most tracks that are doing very well now, they're doing more than one kind of racing out there, and they also might even have a rodeo or concerts. Bristol's doing a ball game coming up here shortly, and I imagine that your strategy is to try to appeal to as many people in the Indianapolis and the Midwest area as possible.
That's exactly right. As a promoter, certainly we want to put on a great race, and that's at the core of our product offering. But I think at the same time, we want to provide a fantastic experience, and that usually moves beyond the racetrack. Certainly have dipped into that quite a bit during the month of May when we host IndyCar and we host a host of different concerts, especially an EDM festival in the middle of the Indy 500 on race day. We've gone that far, and so we've hosted those sorts of things in conjunction with our NASCAR weekend as well. Unfortunately, this year we're not, but it's something we're continuing to explore. And so that's something I certainly wouldn't rule out for the future. In fact, we're in some serious discussions about some artists and things we can do for 2026. This year, our friends at 2311 Racing have sort of shouldered the burden and are going to have some live music offsite on Friday night downtown, as I mentioned earlier. So we're grateful for that. But in terms of some additional offerings here, we're constantly thinking about that, and especially in terms of Brickyard Weekend and what we might be able to bring. And so, like I said, there's some discussion in the works about some musical talent we can bring in 2026. And even as we think about our IMSA weekend, we've got something up our sleeve here coming this fall that's going to happen at the racetrack in conjunction with that endurance event. And I'm not at liberty to say yet, but it involves another sport that's pretty popular right now. And that could be pretty cool, both for the paddock and our fans and those who are going to come in and compete in that sport. So yeah, we have to be pretty savvy in terms of the experience we're offering. Now, as it relates to Brickyard Weekend, specifically this year, one
Yeah.
thing that we're continuing to do is lean into kids and families. Truly, we want to bring new faces to the racetrack to get them interested in motorsports and do our part to help, frankly, bring new fans, whether it's IndyCar fans, NASCAR fans, IMSA fans, you name it. And so what we've done is said that if you buy a general admission ticket or for Brickyard Weekend, even a flex ticket, kids 15 and under get in free. And, we just think it's that important. And it makes it affordable for a family. And then
Yeah.
like I said, we can bring a new generation of fans through the gates, and they can witness something pretty cool that doesn't hurt mom and dad's pocketbook. And so we've continued to push that. We've leaned in it a little further this year. We've brought a little something for the kids. You may have seen that Cookie Monster is coming from Sesame Street, is going to be our grand marshal this year. So if the families do come out, they got a little something fun to look forward to in pre-race, as Cookie will be on stage on Victory Podium and has a role to play in all of that. And so, yeah, we're constantly thinking about other things we can do beyond the racetrack to get more people here, to bring in new faces, and frankly, to provide an experience that lives up to our brand as the racing capital of the world.
This August, a full-throttle festival comes to upstate New York. Camp under the stars, then witness the brightest stars of NASCAR battle for a crucial playoff spot. NASCAR weekend at Watkins Glen. Get your tickets now at theglen.com.
Yeah. You kind of rolled right into the attendance question. What are ticket sales looking like, and how can people still buy tickets?
Well, I appreciate you bringing it up. Ticket sales are strong. We're trailing just a little bit behind last year, but frankly, not by much. Last year, as I mentioned, was a great year with the return to the Oval and the 30th anniversary. Fortunately, we've been able to retain most of that increase in crowd, but we are trailing just a bit. Tickets are still available at ims.com/Brickyard. Again, kids 15 and under get in free with a general admission or a flex ticket. It's a great deal, but we have plenty of seats still available. And we encourage people to come out. Don't be discouraged by that weather forecast. Bring some sunscreen and maybe even an umbrella. We're going to offer some additional cooling spaces around the track. So if people do get hot, there is an oasis they can retreat to and get some air conditioning and cool off before they head back to the stands. But folks around here are by this point in the summer are used to the heat, so I don't think they'll be too discouraged. But still, it's something to keep in mind if people are thinking about coming out the track. Of course, you can bring your own beverages, just no glass. So if you go on ims.com/Brickyard, there's some know before you go information there in terms of cooler sizes you can bring. But we do encourage people to bring their own food and beverage. Again, making it that much more accessible and affordable. So we're encouraged. Last year we had a crowd upwards of 70,000 folks. We think we'll see that again this year.
Not bad.
No, not bad at all. Unfortunately, in a place this size, it tends to swallow up a crowd that big. And of course, they're dispersed, whether it's turn 4, turn 1, or through the main straight or on the mounds. But still, that's that would sell out most NFL stadiums and college football stadiums. That's a big crowd, and so we'll have our best together here. Our team has worked long and hard to be able to open the gates and provide a great experience to all who show up. So. We're excited to get people here and open the racetrack once again and host NASCAR Xfinity and Cup Series action.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to piggyback on about being a multi-purpose facility, you have, besides the month of May, besides the Brickyard, besides the USAC, you have like 3 other series that come in during the course of the year. And for a smaller track like Eldora, that's a little easier to pull off. But for the racing capital of the world, it's a little bit different because you have such a huge facility. But yeah, you guys do a fantastic job. And I look forward. I know that there's races coming up, I think in August, September. And I was looking at the schedule, and I definitely got to come back out and do that. And in that, one final thing here is that tell us how people can look up all the activities you just described and either buy tickets online or come right down to the ticket window. Go ahead and give us that website one more time.
Yeah, ims.com/Brickyard. You can also download the IMS mobile app either way. And if you go there, you're going to get all the information you need, whether it's the weekend schedule, how to buy tickets, all the things you need to know before you come. Again, ims.com/Brickyard, or you can download the mobile app, toggle to the Brickyard weekend schedule, and go from there. All that information is readily available. We'll continue to update it throughout the weekend, especially if weather dictates a change in timing. But for the most part, we're set and ready. So I would encourage folks to go to the website, check it out, buy tickets, and make plans to join us this weekend.
Well, fantastic. So with us, Senior Director of Marketing for Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Michael Kaltenmark. Michael, thanks for giving us 15 minutes or so this morning. Very informative. And I tell you what, you cannot miss this race. This is just going to be a great racing weekend. You got the USAC going on. You've got the NASCARs. You got 2 different series. Plus you have the Craftsman's trucks are going on, ARCA as well going on over at the Indy Park, just about a mile and a half or so, 2 miles away.
Not far away.
Yeah, just a great time. So thank you, Michael, for doing that. And thanks for coming on Inside the Cup Garage. I'm Roy J. Akers. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Roy.
Okay.